At this time, we'll have formal introduction of Judge Garland. Two of our colleagues will be doing that. Because of your state of residence, Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland will be first, and because of your roots, Senator Tammy Duckworth, my colleague of Illinois, will be second. Both are joining us by WebEx. There will be a record statement and statement made by Senator Cardin placed in the record. Senator Van Hollen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me thank you and Ranking Member Grassley and all of our colleagues on the Senate Judiciary Committee for being here today. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to introduce the President's nominee for Attorney General, Judge Merrick Garland, who's not only a fellow Marylander, but somebody who I have known personally for many years. And I know that President Biden has picked a nominee with impeccable credentials and unimpeachable character. His experience stretches from the halls of the Justice Department to the chambers of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit. And he embodies the decency, the impartiality, and the commitment to justice that our nation deserves as the Attorney General of the United States. I'm confident that if confirmed, Judge Garland will serve admirably and faithfully as the next Attorney General, and I'm proud to present him to you and the committee on behalf of myself, but also Senator Cardin, who, as you mentioned, Mr. Chairman, is fully in support of this nomination, but could not join us because of a scheduling conflict. The nation already knows Merrick Garland because of his Supreme Court nomination and as the former judge of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit, where he earned a reputation as one of our nation's finest and fairest jurists. But his tenure on the D.C. Circuit was just the most recent achievement in a life dedicated to serving the rule of law. After excelling at law school, Judge Garland clerked for the Second Circuit Court of Appeals and then for the Supreme Court. He then rose through the ranks of a prominent law firm before jumping back into public service, feet first, as a federal prosecutor in the U.S. Attorney's Office during the administration of President George Herbert Walker Bush, and then later served as the Principal Associate Deputy Attorney General at the Department of Justice. As a senior DOJ official, Judge Garland was tasked with overseeing the case of the Oklahoma City bombing, one of the deadliest domestic terrorist attacks in American history. It left 168 Americans dead and hundreds more injured. Merrick Garland brought a steady hand to an operation that involved massive amounts of evidence, pressure from the public, and a large team with diverse skills and backgrounds. With fidelity to the law and meticulous attention to detail and unrelenting focus, Merrick Garland helped bring the bomber Timothy McVeigh to justice. He has called this case the most important thing he has done in his life. Mr. Chairman, ranking members, and committee members, we are going to need his experience as we once again confront the rise of domestic terrorism, particularly in the wake of the horrific events of January 6th. And the next Attorney General must not only take on the rise of white supremacist and radical militia groups, but also ensure that justice is rendered equally and fairly by promoting and ensuring racial equity, rooting out discrimination in our criminal justice system, addressing police reform, and ensuring that we don't see a concerted effort to limit citizens' right to vote in the United States of America. As Justice Garland has himself stated, ensuring the rule of law and making real the promise of equal justice under the law are, quote, the great principles upon which the Department of Justice was founded and for which it must always stand. Judge Garland has spent his career doing both, and I have no doubt he will honor that tradition as Attorney General. While his professional experiences have prepared him for this job, it's its character that makes him right for this moment. Should he be confirmed, Judge Garland will be charged with restoring credibility and independence to the Department of Justice. making it clear that the department is not the political instrument of the White House. I know Merrick Garland is up to the task. The lengthy list of testimonials speaking to his fairness and sound judgment span the political spectrum. He is respected by lawmakers, scholars, and lawyers of every legal persuasion and political philosophy. And on a personal note, I can attest to the fact that his brilliance is matched by his kindness. His many achievements have never gone to his head. He has always stayed humble and treated everyone with respect. Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member, members of the committee, it's for these reasons and many more that I'm honored to present to you the President's nominee to serve as the next Attorney General of the United States, Judge Merrick Garland. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Van Hollen. And now I'm calling on my colleague and friend from Illinois, Senator Tammy Duckworth.
I thank the chairman. Thank you so much for this opportunity to introduce President Biden's nominee to serve as the next Attorney General of the United States. We in Illinois also claim Merrick Garland as a son of our state. He possesses the brilliance and the resilience, the experience and the intellect, the expertise and integrity necessary to serve effectively as our next Attorney General. I am especially honored to be here today because I have full confidence in his capability to lead the Department of Justice in an independent and impartial manner. And he will defend the civil and constitutional rights of all Americans, no matter what they look like, who they love, how they pray, or their disability status. Judge Garland hails from our home state of Illinois, Mr. Chairman. His father ran a small business out of his home, and his mother directed volunteer services at the Council for Jewish Elderly in Chicago. After graduating at valedictorian at Niles West High School in Skokie, he won scholarships to both college and law school. He then graduated from Harvard University in 1974 and Harvard Law School in 1977. His breadth of experience stems in part from his time in private practice and judicial clerkships. He clerked for Judge Henry Friendly on the Second Circuit and Justice William Brennan on the United States Supreme Court. However, his commitment to public service is perhaps even more clearly demonstrated by his successful tenure at the Department of Justice and his current seat on the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit. In 1979, Judge Garland joined the DOJ as a special assistant, and then after a brief stint in private legal practice, left the department as a principal associate deputy attorney general in 1997. During his tenure, which spanned both Republicans and Democratic administrations, he led multiple high-profile investigations working on a number of issues, including criminal, civil, antitrust, appellate espionage, and national security measures. He gained valuable experience as a prosecutor by trying and supervising numerous prosecutions and appeals. Notably, he played a key role in the prosecution of the Oklahoma City bombers, as has been previously noted. Following his career at the DOJ, the United States Senate confirmed his nomination for a lifetime appointment to serve on the D.C. Circuit. Judge Garland authored hundreds of opinions that address disability rights, criminal justice, and voting rights, among other issues that affect Americans in every mile and every corner of this country. As a judge, he joined a unanimous panel decision that upheld a Department of Labor regulation requiring contractors to comply with the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. This decision upheld regulations that sought to protect employment opportunities for individuals living with a disability like myself. It is this legacy of public service that gives me confidence that if confirmed to be our nation's chief law enforcement officer, Judge Garland will not only modernize and strengthen enforcement of the Americans with Disabilities Act, but will restore integrity and lift morale throughout the DOJ. Judge Garland is ready to defend the constitutional and civil rights that our nation so deeply values, and I know he will make all of us Illinoisans proud as our country's next Attorney General. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Duckworth. Judge Garland, will you please stand to be sworn? Do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give before the committee will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Before I turn to my questions, well, I think there's another element in the program here, your testimony. Let me turn to Judge Garland.
On here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Ranking Member, and members of the Judiciary Committee. I am honored to appear before you today as the President's nominee to be the Attorney General. I would like first to take this opportunity to introduce you to my wife, Lynn, my daughters, Jessie and Becky, and my son-in-law, Zan. I am grateful to them and to my entire extended family that is watching today on C-SPAN every day of my life. The President nominates the Attorney General to be the lawyer, not for any individual, but for the people of the United States. July 2020 marked the 150th anniversary of the founding of the Department of Justice, making this a fitting time to remember the mission of the Attorney General and of the Department. It is a fitting time to reaffirm that the role of the Attorney General is to serve the rule of law and to ensure equal justice under law. And it is a fitting time to recognize the more than 115,000 career employees of the Department and its law enforcement agencies and their commitment to serve the cause of justice and protect the safety of our communities. If I am confirmed as Attorney General, it will be the culmination of a career I have dedicated to ensuring that the laws of our country are fairly and faithfully enforced and the rights of all Americans are protected. Before I became a judge almost 24 years ago, a significant portion of my professional life was spent at the Justice Department. As a special assistant to Ben Civiletti, the last of the trio of post-Watergate attorneys general, as a line assistant U.S. attorney, as a supervisor in the criminal division, and finally as a senior official in the department. Many of the policies that the Justice Department developed during those years are the foundation for reaffirming the norms that will ensure that the department adheres to the rule of law. These are policies that protect the independence of the department from partisan influence in law enforcement, that strictly regulate communications with the White House, that establish guidelines for FBI domestic operations and foreign intelligence collection, that ensure respectful treatment of the press, that read the Freedom of Information Act generously, that respect the professionalism of DOJ employees, and that set out the principles of federal prosecution to guide the exercise of prosecutorial discretion. In conversations that I have had with many of you before this hearing, you have asked why I would agree to leave a lifetime appointment as a judge. I have told you that I love being a judge, but I have also told you that this is an important moment for me to step forward because of my deep respect for the Department of Justice and for its critical role of ensuring the rule of law. Celebrating DOJ's 150th year reminds us of the origins of the department, which was founded during Reconstruction in the aftermath of the Civil War to secure the civil rights that were promised in the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. The first Attorney General appointed by President Grant to head the new department led it in a concerted battle to protect black voting rights from the violence of white extremists, successfully prosecuting hundreds of cases against white supremacist members of the Ku Klux Klan. Almost a century later, the Civil Rights Act of 1957 created the Department's Civil Rights Division with a mission to uphold the civil and constitutional rights of all Americans, particularly some of the most vulnerable members of our society. That mission on the website of the Department's Civil Rights Division remains urgent because we do not yet have equal justice. Communities of color and other minorities still face discrimination in housing, in education, in employment, and in the criminal justice system, and they bear the brunt of the harm caused by pandemic, pollution, and climate change. 150 years after the department's founding, battling extremist attacks on our democratic institutions also remains central to the department's mission. From 1995 to 1997, I supervised the prosecution of the perpetrators of the bombing of the Oklahoma City Federal Building, who sought to spark a revolution that would topple the federal government. If confirmed, I will supervise the prosecution of white supremacists and others who stormed the Capitol on January 6th, a heinous attack that sought to disrupt a cornerstone of our democracy, the peaceful transfer of power to a newly elected government. And that critical work is but a part of the broad scope of the department's responsibilities. Justice Department protects Americans from environmental degradation and the abuse of market power, from fraud and corruption, from violent crime and cybercrime, and from drug trafficking and child exploitation. And it must do all of this without ever taking its eye off of the risk of another devastating attack by foreign terrorists. The Attorney General takes an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I am mindful of the tremendous responsibility that comes with this role. As Attorney General, later Supreme Court Justice Robert Jackson famously said, quote, "The prosecutor has more control over life, liberty, and reputation than any other person in America." While prosecutors at their best are one of the most beneficent forces in our society, when they act from malice or other base motives, they are one of the worst. Jackson then went on to say, "The citizen's safety lies in the prosecutor who tempers zeal with human kindness, who seeks truth and not victims, who serves the law and not factional purposes, and who approaches the task with humility." That was the prosecutor I tried to be during my prior service in the Department of Justice. That is the spirit I tried to bring to my tenure as a federal judge. And if confirmed, I promise to do my best to live up to that ideal as Attorney General. Thank you.